was more so like the visuals, going to conventions and realizing not to be like afraid to like try new things, because a lot of these like artists that you look up online that they look so like it's like intimidating, but then you realize once you see them in person, they put their pants on the same way you do, so it's like it's possible. It's just learning those application techniques that they did.
They put their pants on the same way you do, one foot at a time, right?
Yep.
So we all know that the best way to improve in any area of your life, whether that's tattooing or business or anything else, is to seek advice from people that know more than you. And so today I have a very special guest, Jordi Pla. He is a phenomenal tattoo artist. His skill, his dedication to the craft is he's top tier, top 1%, I would say, of tattooers out there. And he's so generous with his knowledge and wisdom, and he shares how he got that knowledge and wisdom, which one of the ways he did that was by asking other tattoo artists. So he's going to go a little bit deeper into how he learned to be such a phenomenal artist and just a genuine good person. I always want to bring guests onto this podcast that are bringing more than just a skill set or a knowledge set, that their whole energy, their whole vibe is something that I really admire. And so I also had the privilege of getting to work with Jordi a couple years ago. He was actually one of my first one-on-one coaching clients, doing financial coaching, really getting things in order for him to open up his own shop, which he was able to do. And it was just an honor to get to catch up with him and share some of his knowledge and wisdom and his energy with you. So enjoy this episode. Jordi Pla, thank you for joining us on the Artful Dollar Podcast. It's been a while. It's been a couple years since we really first met. How you been?
I've been good, man. I've been doing a lot of work, reinventing myself and reinventing like how I tattoo also.
Awesome, dude. We were just catching up right before this, and I was just saying, like, I've always considered you as like, you're up there in like the top of tattooers that are pushing what is possible in tattooing. That's clearly like your priority, is to exceed people's expectations. And I just think it's awesome. You're incredible artists, and your work ethic and all that. So that's what I'm excited to dive into today and talk about.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me to be on here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, and just some quick background. So we met, did I randomly DM you like 3 years ago? Or did a friend turn you on to me?
I think like that? Someone turned you on to me and like kind of there, and then we kind of went. Actually, you might have DM'd me, and then we started talking back and forth through Instagram, and then I joined in on the one-on-one coaching.
That's right. So we met. It was like 3 years ago. This is when I first started financial coaching, and I was like cold DMing random tattoo artists. And this was back, you used to be able to just DM people even if they didn't follow you. I think Instagram has like different rules around that now. Yeah. But I was very nice, I was very polite, and I was just like, hey, I don't know if you need help with this stuff, but I'm helping tattooers with money stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. I would just shoot that message out to random people, and some people would chat with me, some people tell me to fuck off, some people, would just leave me on red or whatever. But yeah, we started talking, and that's when I was doing one-on-one, just like getting your shit together, getting your money together. And so, yeah, we ended up working together for a couple months. And how's it? That was a couple years ago now. It was 2022, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was 2022.
Overall, things have been good business-wise?
Everything's been great. Like, I transitioned from being in a private studio to having my own shop. I have a business partner. We have pretty much a full staff, around like 7-8 artists in there, and one PMU artist. So everything's been going great. Very
cool. Okay, so you have PMU artists there as well.
Yeah, one on there.
How's that going? I feel like that's a topic that maybe tattooers are like, oh, PMU artists. But like, I actually was on a PMU podcast recently. I can't remember the name. I'll link the name of it. But a PMU tattooer. I don't even people want to call them tattooers, whatever. They're tattooer. They're not tattoo artists. They're tattooers. Yeah. He reached out to me because he just wanted to talk business on his podcast, and so I was like, yeah, sure, let's talk. But is that weird having a PMU tattooer at your studio?
Not really, not at all. Cause like I actually like the diversity in having in the shop and have people do different things. But I feel like when I lived in Miami, I had a lot of like older ladies asking me if I can do eyebrows, and it's something I really didn't do, and I felt
You're
like,
boy, howdy, I could do some eyebrows, some biomech, fucking drippy paint shit. It'd be sick. Let's do your eyebrows up.
Give a little what's it? Pit my ride, pit my face.
Hit my face.
No, but I actually like it because like it's an opportunity to get people in the door, and they might not be in there for just like regular tattoos, but they'll come in for the PMU. But
Sure.
I had a lot of cross in between different
Right,
like
people come in to get tattooed, and then like, oh, I can get my
they want to get
fucking my
that, make a little
doma.
more
Yeah.
money doing that, and the opposite. I have people come PMU, and then they see the other work that's being done in the shop, and then they'll come in. So to me, the more people come in the shop is a more opportunity for us to make money. And people that
Totally. And it's the same supplies, it's the same biohazard. So it's cool you're diversifying. He told me, I was a little surprised. I didn't know how much PMU costs. I don't know what you guys charge, but he told me that it generally runs like about $2,500, give or take. I don't know what you guys charge there, or if
I guess it depends on what you're doing, because like she does a lot of stuff that doesn't take that long. She'll do like
right, like a little
eyebrows
fill
and
in.
stuff like
Okay. Yeah.
and stuff like that, the lips and stuff like that. So it really depends on what there, because like we have it set up where each artist has like market their own price on there, and they
Yeah.
just either do a percentage or they pay booth rent.
Okay,
on
so
it.
it's full like makeup tattooing and
Yeah.
and like the hair
Oh
dots,
no, we
yeah?
didn't do that's SMP.
That's SMP. Okay, now I'm
Yeah,
confused.
that I would like to do myself, because I know there's a lot of fucking money on there, and I actually have a lot of friends who are like part of the FYT Pro team that actually do that on there, but we don't offer that in the shop.
Okay,
It's
that's
not
what
like-
it was. It was. I was on an SMP podcast. I got confused, but okay, these new things coming into tattooing, we're all getting familiar with. But okay, very cool. Yeah, I think it's awesome to diversify your offerings and be able to do that. I think, especially with tattoo shops have been hit harder than
yeah.
anything. I feel like there's obviously a lot of private studios. Where's your studio at now?
It's in downtown Bethesda, Maryland, so it's like
Okay.
very close to where my private studio was at. But to be honest, we're like in the middle of the city, like right on top, like a lot of good places to eat, like walking distance. I really like that area. That's the location. I just had to deal with like the bad reputation that was at the shop there beforehand.
Right.
But we've been repairing that, like having like using Google reviews, have people come in and kind of changing the experience so people come in and they kind of feel more welcome and feel like it's a good place to go to now.
Yeah. Excellent. And so how many artists do you have total?
Right now it's about 6 to 8 artists,
Okay. Yeah, that's a decent sized shop.
not including myself.
Not including yourself. Okay. And so yeah, just overall, like what do you feel you've noticed in things are changing? What are the biggest changes happening recently that you've noticed? How long have you been tattooing total now? Like your whole
Well,
career?
it's been 10 years now. Like I think
Wow.
I hit my 10 years probably this year. This year was my
Okay.
10th year.
Congratulations.
So it's been really great. I've noticed the difference between last year, and the couple of years, 2 years beforehand, like right after COVID. I made the most money right after COVID, but it was like just the influx of people wanting to get tattooed after that little period that they couldn't get tattooed.
Right, 2021. I remember I had a woman, she sat in the chair, started tattooing, and she's like, it just feels so good to be touched by another person right now. Like people were like starved for in-person interaction. And yeah, I think that first month that we opened up after the COVID shutdown in New York,
Yeah.
I hit about a $20,000 month tattooing, and I'd never hit that in my whole tattoo career at that time. Like it was crazy. So there was like that peak. And then are you feeling things have kind of been up and down since then?
I felt like for like good 2 years, like 2021, 2022, I made a lot of money. Like probably the most money I made in my career. I felt
Wow.
like it's kind of like the year after that kind of slowed down, and the last year was like kind of my slowest year personally, but that was a lot because I was kind of relying on people just coming in. So I had to kind of switch how I kind of like try to find new clientele. Like I had to be more hands-on. I kind of had to go back to when I first started tattooing, when I was like very involved with talking to people, like seeing people with tattoos, like, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? I like that tattoo. Check out my work, and kind of get it more where I'm more involved with the community. But it's helped me like kind of rebuild that confidence and like getting people in the shop and being more like in line with the community.
I feel like I hear a lot of tattooers, especially really established tattooers, that maybe they're used to just it flowing in and getting booked out. They're telling me a similar thing, like it's not just coming to me the way it used to, but they feel very discouraged.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're almost like motivated by it, almost inspired or reinvigorated. Is
Yeah,
that
'cause
the case?
Because I do believe that's the case because it feels like I don't know. I take it as more like I need to work harder and not just like I can't get discouraged on it because I know there's people that are gonna get tattooed. It's just finding those people and being able to make these conversations and talk with them to get them in the door on there. I went back to how I used to do when I first started tattooing because that's when no one knew me. I had to go out in the streets and be social, talk to people, and that's how I got a lot of people. Like I had some crazy stories from when I first started. How like the creative things I would do to get people in the shop.
What would you do? Let's hear
All
it.
right, so I'd probably say the craziest thing I would do is I would go to strip clubs and I would get because a lot in Miami, a lot of strippers get tattooed.
Yeah.
So I would do is take my business card and staple it like 10 of them on $1 bill in each one. So every new girl I'd throw a couple of dollars, I would have my business card. And I'd say 9 out of 10 of them would fucking love it. A couple of them would just hand me the business card back.
Okay.
But it would just be like one of those where it'll be funny and then be like,
very
oh shit.
creative. Yeah.
And then they would come in and a lot of them would love to get tattooed. So it was stuff like that I used to do back in the day. But now what I would do in my area, I would go through all the businesses I was out there because I know a lot of people who work to get tattooed.
Yeah.
So I would go over there, hand a bunch of business cards and tell them I'll give you guys discounts to come in on there and then kind of get the word out there. We're close to like a base. So we're trying to do is like almost a referral service or people coming in and just how like different things that I wouldn't have done like the last 2 years.
Yeah, I love it. It's all, dude. It sounds like your mentality around it is not like, oh, woe is me. And I think that I see a lot of that out there. A lot of this woe is me mentality. Oh, it's slow. You know, I used to be so busy and now I'm not. And people kind of get in their head. And I get it. You know, it's emotional, but it sounds like you didn't waste. Did you get discouraged at all? Did you get bummed out?
At first, I felt a little bit like, all right, man, I'm not busy as I was. It's when I would open my books and kind of be like, all right, I'm not getting all the same amount of consultations I did beforehand. But I felt like that wasn't really because of the market. It was more because of me not doing what I need to do. I kind of got lazy about things and I wasn't really trying to hit it hard or anything like that. I was just relying on Instagram versus like me going out and talking to people, which is probably the best way to kind of get people in the door, especially in the community. Because it would have been easier for me when I traveled. I would get stuff because people are like actively looking for people to get to tattoo them at those conventions versus in the neighborhood. Like people are not really don't like look up through Instagram for tattoos anymore like that.
Yeah. And obviously, I'm big on Instagram marketing, but I never want tattooers to rely solely on Instagram. Yeah. I want you to, because here's the thing is, if you go out in public and you hand out a bunch of business cards or flyers or staple a bunch of cards to $1 and hand it to a stripper or whatever, the next thing they do is they go to your Instagram.
Yeah. And I use that like a portfolio, so let's see the work I've done. Because sometimes it's hard to, unless you're like making really funny content, which I'm trying to get more into content involved and do more videos and stuff like that. It's hard to stand out with all these great artists out of there. And they're going to see like the difference on like how great some of these artists are. So it's like you have to like kind of be more personable, show more of yourself versus just your work on Instagram. And I'm trying to work on that this year. This is my goal for this year is to change up how I approach Instagram or social media and do like TikTok, or even though TikTok's got banned, came back.
Right. Who knows?
I don't know who's going to work, if you got to use a red note or not, but I'm trying to like get myself out there more as
YouTube is big.
Yeah.
Like even just repurposing your Instagram reels as shorts on YouTube, because especially if you put in the description, like let's say you make a piece of content about getting your first tattoo, right? Mm-hmm. Everything you need to know about getting your first tattoo, right? First of all, it's educational. People who are thinking about getting their first tattoo are going to love it. But then if you put that in the description, because YouTube is owned by Google, it's essentially the same. Yeah. When people Google that kind of stuff, those YouTube shorts actually come near the top. They'll be pushed more towards it, and then people will find your YouTube shorts through a Google search, where they might not always find your Instagram necessarily. Yeah. If you made the same reel but just left on an Instagram. So it's a good way to repurpose some of that educational content that you might make for Instagram. Also use it as a YouTube short, and then make sure you have some keywords, some SEO, search engine optimization in the captions. It's just a great way to just repurpose the marketing efforts. Yeah.
I've been trying to do that. Like I have my YouTube page. are on there, and I've put a couple shorts on there. So I'm
Excellent.
trying to make more videos. Like I'm doing a lot of more like footage, like filming. Like I posted a video from my Philadelphia tattoo convention on there. Something really quick on there, but I want to kind of get it set up where I can set up through all these different social media, I guess different platforms and
cross platform, dude. How the fuck was Philly? That was the first tattoo convention I ever did, probably maybe like 12, 13 years ago or something like that. I'd only been tattooing maybe like 4 years at the time.
Yeah.
And it was so intimidating when I went then. And I heard there were 1,000 booths this year. Is that right?
Yep.
How the fuck was that?
Nah, it's always like every year I do Philly is always crazy.
Yeah.
And like the only negative I used to have from the previous years, it was trying to get in the line to get inside the convention because they would do all these searches for the artists and everything. Like they don't do that anymore.
You couldn't have bandanas hanging out. You
Yeah,
couldn't have
that. But now they kind of like lax on that, so it made it a lot easier. So it's like a lot more enjoyable. Like I love doing the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention because I get to see like so many different artists,
Yeah.
so many different vendors coming in, and there's so many people that walk in. Because like even though like I had a 3-day appointment for that weekend and I was booked out, but there's a lot of other people, new influx of like people going to my Instagram, seeing my web page, checking out my like other people in the shop, and so it's like always a good way to kind of network myself and get myself out there.
And you do a lot of conventions. Do you still do a lot of conventions? I know you were like doing them all the time.
I was doing like, so the last couple of years I was doing like 35 to 40.
In 1 year.
Yeah, and I kind of slowed down but it's not really slowing down. I'm being a little bit more selective of what shows I do because I want to kind of do some more shows overseas. Like last year I started doing a couple I did in Colombia, Dominican Republic. I do Puerto Rico every year. Past ones I did China, Germany. So I'm trying to do some more like different shows.
China.
Yeah, China was pretty crazy. I love going to China. It's like one of my favorite shows to do and shit.
Wow. All right, so a couple questions. One, what are the top tattoo conventions? What are your favorite ones?
My favorite ones I do. So if it's
and why? Because I know you might like different conventions for different reasons.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite ones is the Puerto Rico show every year. It's not a moneymaker on the sense where it's almost like a end of year like vacation, but it's a lot of different type of artists I don't get to see on the regular circuit. Because a lot of ones I do in the United States, you see the same people because it's like almost the same people do the same shows.
Yeah.
Even though some of them are different. But the Puerto Rico show I do is still by Yalzi. It's like a lot of more European artists, South American artists on there. And then, of course, Puerto Rico is beautiful. And then the year the food is good and great. I mean, I love doing Philly, Chicago, Baltimore, like the major ones on there.
Yeah.
There's some new ones thrown by the guys who throw Explorer, which is like the Fort Wayne Invitational, like those festivals.
Right.
I really like those because it's like a different group of people that get to meet, like artist-wise. Because I usually take the time to go to conventions. I don't really do it to make money because I can make more money at home staying home, but I like to work and see different artists and like pick up new tricks. Cause I feel like I'm always at that where I want to pick up something else from a new artist I haven't seen or anything like that. And if I can see it in person, I can like pick up those applications and use it into my own work.
Yeah. Is that your secret? That how you grew so fast?
Oh, 100%. Like 100%.
So apparently 88% of listeners have not left a review or subscribed. And I'm going to get right back to the podcast in just a second. But if you have found this episode helpful and you think that other people would benefit from listening, then all I ask in return is please just leave a quick review and subscribe. It'll take just 1 minute and it might help other tattooers and other artists find this podcast and help them out. So please, it would mean the world to me and it might actually make a difference for someone else. Thanks. Is that your secret? That how you grew so fast as a tattooer?
100%. Like 100%. I started doing conventions from 3 months in tattooing professionally.
Really?
Yeah, my first year I did 10. That's why I've done so many because it started off 10, the next year 25.
All right, so how do you just walk up to a booth and just watch? Like
I love them both.
Okay.
So like sometimes I'll walk up because like that's how I really learned how to tattoo was I had a apprenticeship, but it wasn't like a full-fledged like real apprenticeship where it's like I had a mentor like, yo, you need to do this and that.
Yeah.
I always have questions about things that I want to learn, and if I see someone doing those type of applications, I pay attention really close to like hand movement, what kind of machine they're using, what kind of what's their voltage running at, and I have those questions in my head before I even go up there. So when I go in to see I can see it firsthand, and then I can pick up and see what they're doing to get these like gradients, or like what colors are they using to blend into there, and I'll pick up little things like that every time I look. And then
You ever ask people questions? I mean, now you're more well known, well established, so I'm sure if you come up to a booth, people are like, oh shit, yeah, Jordi. But in the beginning, did you ask people like, hey, how are you doing that? Or were you like, I don't know if that, tattooers can be so weird about that.
I've never really went up to people and like talked to them about like ask them specific questions about things like that. I just noticed things.
Sure.
And to me, it was just like, it was more eye-opening where I can like go talk to them like, yo, I really appreciate your work. Like I've asked people through DMs about like, yo, can you critique my work? What do you think I can do better? Like,
have you?
Yeah, I've had TJ Poole. I DM'd him one time. I was like, when I was really doing only black and red before I started doing color.
Okay.
Like, yo, can you check out my work? Like, what do you think? Is it good? Or he told me like, yeah, I was right there on the cusp. And then he just told me where he started off, where he did black, and then he went down to his like midtones and did his highlights last. And it was like kind of little tips he gave me there, but me, it was more so like the visuals, going to conventions and realizing that not to be like afraid to like try new things, because a lot of these like artists that you look up online, that they look so like, it's like intimidating, but then you realize once you see them in person, they put their pants on the same way you do. So it's like, it's possible. It's just learning those application techniques that they did.
They put their pants on the same way you do, one foot at a time, right?
Yep.
I love that, man. I love that you're not afraid to like just get out there and absorb. And I feel like a lot of people, they might just sit around at their booth, just fucking sucking their thumb, doing nothing. And don't be afraid. If you're not getting walk-ups, go explore, go use that opportunity. That's probably more valuable than any amount of money that you're going to make
100%.
at a convention.
Me going to travel, I've met some of my favorite artists, and I've done a couple of my first guest spots because I went to go talk to people. Like my first my spot ever was with Michael Perry at Sanctuary before he moved to Love Machine.
Nice.
That same year, I went to Elysium where I met Jacob Sheffield, who's one of my close friends on there.
Yeah.
Pony Lassa was another one of those first guest spots I did. It's because I never went to a convention showing the tattoo I did. So it was a lot of those like networking opportunities. Picking up, like, I picked up most of my sponsors from going to conventions. Like, my first sponsor was FYT Needles, and what I would do is, instead of buying online, I would save my money and I'll go straight to them and buy it at the convention. So when I was there, they'll see me spending that money, and then every time I had did a tattoo that I was really proud of or something at a convention, I'll bring it up to them and show them. And that kind of got me into where it's like they asked me to be one of their sponsor artists at first, and that was like kind of the ball that started rolling to get all my other sponsorships. And a lot of it was just because they see my work. And a lot of times it's just me trying to, I guess, go for awards. Not really trying to win the awards, but being there and being...
Might as well enter. Yeah.
Putting it in there, because then they'll see my tattoos. And sometimes, because you never know you're going to win or not. And sometimes it's not really about winning. It's about like people seeing your shit.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, damn, that came out really nice. What's your Instagram? Blah, 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 and stuff like that.
Yeah. I love it. I feel like this is like how to learn to be a better tattoo artist is what you're sharing. It's like, go up to people, ask questions, put yourself out there, put yourself in the position to get your work seen by the people that you want it to be seen by.
Yeah.
And if you want to be critiqued by an artist, if anyone's listening to this, open up Instagram right now, find your favorite artist, and go DM them and be like, hey, I love your work. Would you be open to critiquing something sometime? And the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
And at best, they'll be like, oh, yeah, they'll probably be honored, first of all. They'll probably be flattered, because we're all our own worst enemy. Do you ever look at your own work and you're like, this sucks?
Oh, 100%. Like,
right? Oh. You're in your head. You're your own worst enemy. So when someone comes up and says, hey, would you critique my work? Go to Jordi. DM Jordi.
100%. I love it when people come to me and ask me that, because I'm the first person to be like, yeah, take a look at this, check this artist out, or like, look, cause I look up a lot of like videos on YouTube for outside of tattooing, like color theory and like understanding the science behind stuff like that. So I usually like send them the links to those videos on there, like, yo, check this guy out. He's talking a lot about this, that kind of help improve a lot of things that I needed to do, and I did in my career.
Wow. That's some gold, dude. That is some golden nugget stuff that and you just decided to do that. Did anyone tell you to do this? You just kind of
I just decided to do stuff like that because I was really hungry when I first started because I was studying aerospace engineering before I did tattooing.
Aerospace engineering. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like a year away from graduating, so I ended up switching my major because I had a cousin that dated a tattoo artist that seen my old drawings from when I was in high school, and it's like, oh, you should pick up tattooing, and it kind of like got me back into art. So once I switched my major from aerospace engineering to art, I ended up getting a degree art at FIU. Is when
Cool.
I got hit up by Chico to work at Chico's Mark for Life, and that kind of started my whole like tattoo career.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like I couldn't like take a chance to be mediocre or not get better because I'm very prideful in like what I put out there. So for me, it's like I knew I wasn't that great at first, so I needed to
Sure.
get better, and I had to find out any way possible to get better.
Yeah.
So I kept on like, yo, I know if these people can do it, I can do it. I just got to figure out what I need to do to get it, learn whatever application issues, and even be on Ink Master. That helped me like kind of open my eyes into tattooing also.
Let's talk about that. How long ago were you on Ink Master? It was a little while ago.
Well, we filmed 2019 and aired 2020, so it's been about 5 years now.
It's been about 5 years now. Let's hear the good and the bad. What are some of the good ways that it impacted your career?
Well, it impacted me in the sense where people were more willing to like, yo, spend money getting tattooed by me because I've been on the show.
Right. Sure.
I say the biggest impact for me was really being in there with a bunch of great artists on there because we had 20 artists in my season and they all did different things that I didn't do. When I first came in, I was mainly just doing realism.
And how long was the filming process? Like from start to finish?
Start to finish, if you're there, once you get eliminated, you're not there anymore. So
right.
I think the max is like 2 months on there.
And so you were there for, I don't know how long you were there
for. I was there like halfway through it. So I was like a month and a little bit over a month.
Do you feel like you just grew so much in that month?
Oh, 100% because
that's cool.
When you have people sitting there telling your work's terrible or this and that, it's like your small tattoos on a big like 50-inch screen and everything, all the imperfections and the things that you can kind of improve on and see what other people did good at. Yeah. And it really like it humbled me a lot at first.
I'm sure.
And for me it was like, all right, so I need to start doing other styles and other different types of tattoos where I picked up application like stuff in there and it kind of helped me cultivate what I'm actually doing now in my like current, I guess these like little high contrast, semi-realistic graphic field tattoos I do now.
Yeah. Okay. Any other benefits overall? I mean, obviously people see you on TV, but at the end of the day, if your work wasn't good, they wouldn't just pay more just because you were on Ink Master. Like your work has to be exceptional.
Yeah.
And got your name out there more. You grew as a tattooer. What are the bad things?
Oh man, people, if they don't like something, they fucking go after you a lot. Like they'll talk about like you get eliminated or anything like that, or you do bad. They'll think you're trash, and
was that hard? Was that hard to deal with?
Oh, it was, because they'll be like, at first I felt
what would happen? Would they comment? Would they email you? Would they come to your house and yell at you?
No, then nothing like that. They'll comment on it, and then it'll be like sometimes you just gotta ignore the comments on there, but like when they make a post or video, they'd be like, oh, this is terrible because they made a fucking critique or a bad part of the critique on there. And a lot of times how Ink Master does it, you don't really see the whole critique. You just see the little parts that either they want to push the story for good or bad on there. So you see that, and they live and die about stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you can't tattoo or something like that. And I would show them like, look at my portfolio, then come talk to me. I can do this shit. It's like, just because going on there doesn't create the best environment to do the best tattoo, but it's like,
but you're gonna learn, you're gonna grow, and it's like, okay, you try to fucking tattoo under pressure, on camera, all this stuff, competing, and you try to fucking do your best work, like it pushes you in some ways to maybe do some of your best work, but then in other ways
it's like if you're trying something, trying to please a judge, and
also a fucking master tattoo artist isn't someone that never makes mistakes. A master tattoo artist makes mistakes and knows how to rework them into the fucking thing. I would pull shit and I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have shaded off of that side, and I'm like, maybe I'd do it this way, and I will discover things that I never even would have come up with if I hadn't have made those mistakes.
Without mistakes, you're not going to get better.
That's it.
You need to make those mistakes to get better and to learn on there, because no one like is good right off the bat. Like that's like perfectly on there. You need to make those mistakes and learn from them, because I made plenty of mistakes when I first started career, and like
It's just that now in the day of social media, those mistakes are just up for fucking grabs, and people love those keyboard warriors. You know, they love to just get on the other side. They just wake up and they're like, my life sucks. Who can I fucking rap on today? Who can I fucking just tear apart on social media? Because, you know, I'm so empty and hollow inside. My soul is a carved out husk, and I hate my existence. The only way that I can feel better about myself is to make someone else feel worse about themselves online. Like, that's literally who that person is. So if anyone hears this and you've gotten people that leave nasty, and believe me, I get a lot of nasty comments, and it does, sometimes it gets to me. So if there's haters listening to this, yeah, sure, sometimes it gets to me, and I just remind myself, I'm like, all right, you have to wake up every day in the prison of your own mind. Thank God I don't fucking wake up and I'm like, how can I fucking make someone else more miserable? How can I judge someone? And the thing is, people rarely, if ever, hate down. People always hate up. They always hate up.
It's because they wish that you're in their position, or they were in your position on there, and then they have to like bring you down so you can bring themselves up to that level.
Do you know the quote about the man in the arena? Have you ever heard this?
No, I haven't.
Hold on. The man in the arena. It's a really good. This is Theodore Roosevelt said this. He said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by the dust and the sweat and the blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat."
Oof, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. And so anytime, like, people fucking throw shade or judgment, I'm like, first of all, you don't fucking know me. You don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know where I've fucking been. You ain't seen the shit I seen. You know? And, like, second of all, like, I'm out here in the arena fucking making mistakes. I'm fucking shit up. I'm making errors, but I'm also triumphing. I'm also doing the damn thing, and I dare greatly to make those errors or have those wins and achievements. And you can't have just the wins. You can't just have the life you want and not have the shit and the blood and the scars to show for it. Like, and that's what I love about that quote.
I love that. And winning is nothing without losses, without like going through something, because that's the whole point, man. It can't be just like given to you. You have to earn that shit. And going through losses, it makes winning even better.
Makes it even better. Absolutely. And we were saying earlier, like, if you're going through life and you don't have haters, like, you're doing something wrong. I remember I left the shop one time. The owner, he was not happy that I left the shop. And I gave him a month's notice. I was like, hey, dude, just here. And there was a lot of toxic shit going on. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm just letting you know I'm going to be working out of a private studio in a month. I'm going to be renting a space. And I just wanted to let you know, I'm giving you a month to find another artist. And he's like, fuck you. You're stealing all of our clients, which I wasn't stealing. It was all my fucking clients that booked for me. You're stealing all of our clients. Fuck you. Get your shit out of here tonight. And anything you leave in the shop, I'm going to burn tomorrow. I was like, shit. I thought I was doing you a favor by giving you a month's notice, but okay. He was like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me you were going to do this? I was like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And he was so fucking mad. And I can be a bit of a people pleaser at times. I struggle with that. Like, I want everyone to like me. You know, I don't want you to not like me.
Sometimes you have to deal with it.
Sometimes you had to deal with it. And then I realized, I was like, if I didn't fucking speak up for myself and remove myself from this situation, then I'm basically like, you're only a victim for so long. You're only a victim once, maybe twice. After that, you're a fucking volunteer.
Yep.
I was volunteering to keep myself in that situation that didn't fucking work for me. I had choices. They weren't easy choices, but I had choices. And I was like, that was the moment I realized, I was like, if I go through life and everyone likes me and no one has anything bad to say about me, I'm probably doing it fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, it's when you have those situations, you can tell with the people that you want to be involved with. Like,
That's
either
right.
they're going to take it and they're going to be cool with it, or they're going to fucking hate you. And thank God, then I don't have to have you in my life because you just have the fucked up view about things.
That's it. Yeah. If someone who you thought was your friend says some shit or whatever, it's like, great, you just did me a favor.
Yeah.
Of letting me know you're not my people.
That's the biggest thing, because I went through that recently, not that long ago. But it's like, what small inconvenience will tell you who your friends are or how your friends really feel about you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get right back into it, but real quick, I wanted to let anyone who's feeling uncertain about your financial future know that, one, you are not alone. I speak to hundreds of tattooers and artists, small business owners all around the world every year, and it's very common to feel overwhelmed, confused when it comes to saving, investing, taxes, and all that stuff. And two, if you're looking for help with this stuff, I want to make it very easy for anyone who is serious about taking control of their financial future to book a one-on-one call with me and get clear around what actions you can take to build financial security and freedom. So if you're interested in that, or you know someone that might be, you can hit the link in the show notes below to book a one-on-one financial future session with me personally. Now, I do charge a small fee for this, but I want to make it as accessible as possible. I also want to note that I take about 5 or 6 of these calls per month, so availability is limited, but I would love to get to chat with you and see how I can help. So, do you ever get people that just hate just because you're successful?
I mean, to be honest, probably are, but I just tune them out.
Sure.
If once they start going that, I just don't really give a fuck what they say, so I kind of deal with my own thing.
I feel I bring that up because I feel I've heard that from other tattooers, that just this crabs in a bucket mentality of like, oh, we see someone doing well, and so I'm gonna fucking tear them down. You know, it's just that, and I think it's that mentality that is it's toxic in tattooing. And
100%.
Have you ever fucking teared anyone down for succeeding? Like,
Nah, because like I congratulate if you're succeeding, like you're doing good. I'm happy for you. Because,
that's it.
It doesn't affect me what I do in my life or
Not
anything
one bit.
like that. Like, to me, I want everybody to do good, because I know when I was doing good, like people like either they cheered for me or they didn't, and if they didn't, it's because they were jealous and they're envious about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like your mindset around life, around business is like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to lift other people up. And by lifting other people up, I'm always going to do well. I'm always going to be on top. I think that's the mindset that I want to perpetuate in tattooing.
100%.
Yeah, dude. Oh, there was another question. Oh, I was going to ask you, circling back to conventions, because now, how many conventions have you done total? A fucking 100, 200?
Probably more than that. I'm probably like 200 now.
What are like top things that people need to know about doing a convention? What are some convention tips for people?
And the biggest thing is come prepared.
So what does that mean though, specifically? What's the type of shit, that people forget?
It really depends on what you're going there for. Like I've gone there, I've done so many now that I like to have all my shit with me. Like, I don't want to have to like rely on, because like not every convention has every supply you need. So like anything you need to do the tattoo, like I make sure I have everything there with me. And
do you bring your own armrests and everything like that?
Yeah, bring all
100%.
I drive to most of them unless they're like 20+ hours.
You drove to China?
No, those other than China, like anything like that, I would fly to and stuff like that.
But how do you make sure? So if you're traveling overseas, and you can't drive, do you order it? Do you rent it? Like, you make it happen in advance? What do you
It
do?
depends on the convention. Like you have to check if the convention is first renting like beds. Like I went to Germany and they didn't have any beds to rent, so I had to grab a table and put pillows on it and wrap that up and use that as a table, which was the most uncomfortable thing ever. But I've done so many shows and like most of them I didn't have like all the ideal scenarios, so I had to do shit like that. Like I had to put like 4 chairs up together to make armrests or some shit like that. And just gotta make it happen. But now that I've done so many, and if it's like dry, like if it's within 20 hours, like from where I'm at, I drive it.
Okay.
And I make sure I bring a bed, a small bed, armrest. I bring all my inks. I usually bring more inks than I need to, because like a lot of times I like to be over prepared than under prepared. Because like if you have everything, if you don't use it, shit, you just take it back with you.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anything and you're gonna be stuck, and if they don't have that supply there you need at the convention, because a lot of times they're not going to have everything you need.
Yeah.
I try to make sure I bring it up there and like be prepared for the show. I wake up early.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's going to fuck up your sleep. And I try not to party anymore, because a lot of times like...
You made that mistake once or twice, right?
More than once or twice. A lot of times I'll wake up and I'll be like super tired the next day, and it's like... I'm used to it because I grew up in Miami, so when I was younger, I used to be able to power through it and be all right and tattoo at high level.
How old are you now?
I'm about to be 40 next year.
All right. You can't power through it anymore?
I mean, I can. I choose not to. That's the thing. I like my peace of mind. I like to wake up early, be there an hour before my client gets here, have everything set up, like have my design ready, and even then, sometimes that's not enough time to be there, because I like to be able to finish my tattoo within a reasonable time.
Yeah.
If I wanted to put in for tattoo of the day, like I wanted to be done within an hour to 2 hours before tattoo of the day, so I can settle down and give like the best opportunity to look as best it can.
You know, a couple things I've seen at conventions that I'm like, damn, that was fucking smart. One is, you know, those like, they're cheap on Amazon, the things you can put shoes in them.
Yeah.
And it's like a thing, and they hang it up on the rack, on the frame, and you put your water bottle or your fucking supplies, your razor blades, inks even, or whatever. That way it's not on the table, and you're not, because that table gets so filled with shit.
Oh, with stuff, and it's so discombobulating, and it's like everything's everywhere, and it looks shitty.
And so they just have this little easy, and it's like probably not even $20. I'm sure you can get a nice rack. The other thing is, I had another client, this guy, Jove. He also does a lot of conventions. He also says he drives a lot too.
Yeah.
He only does flash tattoos.
Yeah.
Like, he usually doesn't even book out in advance. He only does flash tattoos, and he comes fucking prepared with dope flash. But then what he did is he bought these metal racks. They're like little square, like you can hang shit on them, and it folds out, and it's tall. So he puts that on the front table, and then that way, instead of everyone crowding over your flash looking at it down, they can stand here, and he hangs it all up, and he is so smart. You got to think ahead. He cuts each piece out so that you can take it off the rack and put it right on your arm and look at it. Yeah. And you can just hold it and how would that fit there? And I thought it was so brilliant. Like, there's all these little things that you see people do, and you're like, is there anything like that? Any clever things you've seen people do that you now do all the time?
Oh man, I mean, to me, like having like because I have these like little stands for my because I really don't do flash like that. A lot of times I have like these pictures, and then a lot of people just put them on the table. I got these little plastic like stands that hold up, and it attracts people more to my like station. Like to me, like the biggest thing if you're waiting for walk-ups is catching people's eyes. If they can see those designs without having to go down and look up, because what's going to happen if you just have a book there, people are going to look through the first 2 pages and then walk off.
That's it.
Right. If you have like a picture sitting there like, damn, that tattoo catches my eye. Like it's like on photo paper. It's big. It has like a glass little protector and shit. Yeah. And they'll see that and they'll walk up to it, and then they'll keep on coming by. And like to me, like people want it. And then having one that's with your fucking barcode for your Instagram or your social media.
Make it just, like, big, bold, and easy for people to see it and to stand out. Yeah.
And then fucking another thing is having a different banner, because everybody always has the same type of banner that like doesn't stand out. Like standing out is like the biggest thing they attract people. Like I learned that from going to conventions with Chico, and he would have a quad, and just having that quad, and we would not be like at the time we weren't the best artists in the show, but everybody came and because they fucking saw that big ass fucking quad, they saw this big ass sign that they had that was like the tallest one in the show, and it just attracted people, and it made it easier to sell tattoos from that.
Right, you could be the best tattoo artist at the convention, but if you don't have the big fucking banner and the things that stand up and the little things, like, people won't be attracted to you, and you're hunched over there doing your thing, but people won't really come and find out about you. And you could be a real beginner tattoo artist, but if you got all the fucking things at the convention, you're grabbing eyes, you're gonna stay busy. You're gonna stay booked out.
To be honest, a lot of times, like, people don't know the difference. They just see like, all right, they're gonna get attracted. Oh damn, this guy has a cool booth. I like his vibe on there. And most of the times you'll see like the people who don't have like the best work, they're not showcasing their work. They're showcasing the designs. And designs sit on there and they're like, oh damn, that design's right there, because people want to see designs and they want to. That's why it's so easy to sell flash and smaller tats. It's because they don't know what they want to get, but if they see it already done and they're like, damn, that's fucking cool. I want that. And they'll gravitate to things like that.
So something you just said. So this is especially in marketing. You're always want to know what are the main problems that your ideal client has that keep them from working with you, essentially. And so one of the biggest problems that you'll hear people say is, I want to get tattooed, but I don't know what I want to get. Do people come to you like that? And they're just like, yo, Jordi, I love your work. I don't know what I want to get. Like, how do you deal with that?
To be honest, that's like the hardest client to deal with. Like, I don't know what to get on there. Like, I always try to make pre-made designs or anything like that, but I've done this so many where I can work with if they have a theme or something. But to me, the hardest client is the ones like, I don't know, I just want a Jordi piece on there. And then they might like it and they might not, because it's like, you're not going to give them the same tattoo that someone else got, because that's what they seem to get over there.
So I've had this idea for a while of like, if a tattooer either make a piece of content or a YouTube video or a fucking PDF or something, just talking about your design how you go about thinking about a design. Because I think the problem is they're not artists, right? Our clients, most of the time, they're not artists. They don't think like an artist. And so if you can, whatever, just make some piece of educational content, whether it's short form, long form, or fucking PDF that you hand out, that walks people through, maybe ask them certain questions. Like, all right, what are your 3 favorite memories? What do you like about that memory? How did that memory make you feel? If you had something that was symbolic of that memory, what would that be? And like kind of ask questions to stir up those creative juices. Then you have something that solves that problem, right? Someone's like, I want to get tattooed by you, but I don't know what I want to get. Oh, check out this video I made on how I come up with tattoo ideas, or the questions I ask. People will love that kind of shit.
Oh, 100%.
And then you've built this connection. They immediately trust you more. They're more likely to work with you. Anyway, these are the types of things my brain is always stirring up with, like marketing ideas for tattooers, and that's all I do is I just help tattooers fucking make more money all day,
It's a lot of things like some of the older artists need to take a look at and stuff like that, because they got used to one way and then they're kind of like falling back because they don't want to look at different ways how to get people to come in.
Yeah. You're either adapting and growing or you're fucking dying. That's it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Well, dude, we're about to wrap up, but I always like to ask tattooers, if you had a billboard and you could put one message on that billboard for all tattoo artists to see, what would that message be? And you can think about it if you need a minute.
I mean, for any artist,
any tattooer, it's just a message you want to get out to tattooing. It doesn't even have to be about tattooing. I don't know. You just want to spread a message. If you could say one thing on a billboard for tattoo artists, what would that message be?
Stay learning, because if you don't, you're going to fall behind.
That's it.
That's the biggest thing, is like, you can always learn something new. And even if you're the best, if you don't keep on learning, you're gonna fall behind.
And so go out, DM other artists, go to conventions, do guest spots, expose yourself, put yourself in uncomfortable positions that you're not familiar with, and that's probably how you're gonna grow the quickest.
100%.
Yeah. Jordi, thank you so much for just spending the time and sharing your experience. And Instagram, what's your Instagram handle?
Right now is Jordi_BFC.
Right now, is it gonna change?
No, I just changed it.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good. So we'll let people know. Jordi _BFC.
Yes.
All right, you can check him out on Instagram and plug for your shop.
It's Black Flamingo Collective in Bethesda, Maryland. Same thing as Instagram, it's just Black Flamingo Collective, one word.
Okay, cool. So if you're ever looking for a dope guest spot and you want to level up and surround yourselves with a bunch of talented fucking tattooers, hit Jordi up. And awesome, dude. Thanks again.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
All right, if you found this episode helpful, one of the best ways for you to help other artists is to share this episode. Leave a review and subscribe. It helps other people find my channel, and you never know what a difference it might make for someone else. Plus, I will forever be grateful for your support, so I just want to say thank you and have a great rest of your day.